What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chisha Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Megan Thee Stallion says, I wish he would have killed me. If I knew I'd go through this after returning to the stand. As you guys know, trials between Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez have been growing in popularity. They're both taking the stand, and a lot is getting revealed about this case. Now, depending on where you stand with this whole situation, you may be really surprised by what's being revealed as time goes on. And it's been almost 2 years since the incident, and it's finally looking like this case is coming to an end and a close, and a verdict will be made. Now, we're about to get into it. No more wasting time. Let's get it.
Okay, we just got our first break in the Tory Lanez trial. We had opening statements. Opening statements are still actually going. We had to pause midway through for lunch. Better than TV. If you watch the prosecution's opening statement, you would say guilty. If you then watch the defense's opening statement, you would say, what the hell is the prosecution thinking, charging him? Basically, the prosecution started with this story. They said that, hey, they're all at the party, and Tory is leaving the party with Meg. They're in the car. An argument breaks out, during which Meg says and insults his skills as a rap artist.
Woo! I started it, right? Big egos in that car, man. You got celebrities, rappers, you know, both Megan Thee Stallion and Tory sings and raps too. So yeah, let's keep listening.
This leads to a situation where she gets out of the car and he shoots at her feet and yells, "Dance, bitch." And then she ends up at a hospital, and a doctor takes out 3 fragments of bullet wounds from her foot. Now, if you just hear, and the prosecution says that Kelsey, the other woman in the car, is going to testify that Tory shot Meg. And Kelsey has a text message where she texts somebody that, hey, Tory shot Meg. And then the rest of the prosecution's case is based on all these calls and texts where Tory's like, oh, I'm so sorry, oh, I'm so drunk. He never says that I shot him. He's just like, oh, I'm just so sorry, I'm so drunk. So question what he's apologizing for. So that's the prosecution's case. Seems pretty easy. Then the defense comes up, and man, it gets spicy. First, the defense goes, they're not telling you about half of what's going on. The most important thing they're not telling you about an eyewitness who saw 2 women fighting, Kelsey and Meg. And so let's talk about why them 2 are fighting. Let's talk about how she was in the front seat. The gun was caught in the front seat. Let's talk about how she might have gunpowder. She does have gunpowder. Let's talk about how this has nothing to do with the fight between Tory and Meg and everything to do with the fight between Meg and Kelsey. And then the defense starts dropping the bombs.
Wow. I have to say this real quick. Do you guys remember a while back, I actually released a video that was basically exposing Meg for lying, saying that she did not have any sexual relations with Tory Lanez. You guys saw the video. And it turns out that what they were fighting over was Tory Lanez. Right? That man had 3 women that were fighting over him, 2 really good friends. In fact, this was so true that women started justifying it. For example, this post that was shared on the Coffee Pot official at us on Instagram that read, there's certain men that you admit sleeping with only when you're under oath. Listen up, gentlemen. She goes on to say, Tory Lanez is one of those men. These women are out here in these streets, man, you know, getting their cheeks clad. And they won't tell you, right? You want to ask her, oh, what's your body count? Who have you slept with? She won't say it, bro. By the way, when she said that she wished that he just shot her and she died, the reason why is because she ended up confessing that Tory Lanez was busting those cheeks. Someone else responded back to that chick and says, like, there are definitely guys I've slept with that I have mentally erased because I was at a low point in my life and I don't know what I was doing. Anything but I effed up, right? Anything but, hey, you know what? There was a point in my life when I was at 304. Keep it real, ladies. Nothing wrong with keeping it real. It's always, oh, I was in a low point. I didn't respect myself. Now I respect myself 100 bodies later. But guys, I was wondering this one thing. The one thing I was wondering, how did Tory Lanez have all these women fighting over him? The man is like half all these women's size, like no disrespect, right? That's part of why these women are embarrassed, right? But there's something about Tory Lanez these women couldn't resist. Kylie, Megan Thee Stallion, her friend Kelsey. And then it finally hit me. I finally figured it out. Listen, I figured it out when I was watching an interview of Tory Lanez, and I looked at him and I said, wait a minute, this brother has some great skin. And of course, it's time for the sponsor of today's video, Tiege Henley. Now, as usual, I'm excited to talk about Tiege Henley, and you've probably heard me talk about them in the past, and I'm going to keep talking about them because I know the positive impact their product will have on your skin. Listen to me. I don't think a lot of you guys believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare product actually helps your confidence. A lot. Teej Hanley makes taking care of your skin uncomplicated. So I recommend that you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all their basics. A daily face wash, an exfoliation scrub, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20, and a PM moisturizer. And to make it even more simple for guys like us, they provide an instructional card that tells you which product to use, how much, and when. And I gotta be honest, for someone like me, the card really helped. I like that coffee. Guys, skincare wasn't something I ever took seriously. I would like break out here and there and just kind of wait for it to go away. But now I have a solution, right? And it's Teej Hanley. It's what I'm showing you guys right now. It actually works. But you don't have to just take my word for it. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews from customers all over the globe. And in addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Hanley get plenty of benefits, including 20% off the retail price, access to exclusive monthly deals, pause and cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Teej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description and also in the pinned comment, and you would get 30% off your first box. Plus a free gift. Guys, if you've been thinking about starting with Teej Hanley, now is the time. This is a great deal. Click the link and get started today. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Let's pick up where we left off. And Tory Lanez lawyers and team are defending him now. Let's go.
He basically says this, that they're in the car. Yeah, they left. But do you know why they left? They left because Kylie and Tory were in the pool together. And Kelsey and Meg both felt some type of way about that, to the point that Meg felt really some type of way about that. And she was really trying to go, to the point that eventually, because of how Meg is acting, this is according to the defense, Kylie Jenner goes to Meg Thee Stallion and says, it's time for you to leave. They all leave. The defense's point is what happens in the car is this. Tory questions Kelsey. Hey, Kelsey, why are you backing up Meg for me trying to, get it on with Kylie Jenner? Meg has been snaking men from you your whole life. I hooked up with you, Kelsey, and then Meg went behind your back and hooked up with me. And, Kelsey, this is not the first time. You had been hooking up with Ben Simmons. Meg went behind your back and hooked up with Ben Simmons.
Damn. Yo, Meg gets around. Meg gets around. And listen, here's what's funny about this is like people don't want me to say those type of things, right? People are like, well, are you speaking on Meg? She said to herself, she's not ashamed. She's a grown woman. So what's the problem, right? This generation of we can do what we want. If it's public, well, we can talk about it, right? You don't get to be secretive when your business is out in the open.
Been hooking up with,
and you're proud of it, right? Let's keep listening.
With the baby. Meg went behind your back and hooked up with the baby. And so the defense starts dropping all these grenades. The crowd is captivated. The jury is like, oh, what's going on? And there's every reason to believe that there could have been a fight here, not between Tory and Meg, but between Meg and Kelsey. And the shooting could have not been Tory. It could have been done by any one of the other people in that car. What does all of this mean? Well, I'll tell you a couple things. First, Corey Gamble, Kris Jenner's husband, is going to testify, so this will continue to be must-see TV. Two, the judge is terrific. I expect a very fair trial. The lawyers on the defense side are terrific. I don't know what the government lawyer was doing, giving an opening presentation that made it seem like the most open and shut case ever, when in fact there are huge questions, including an eyewitness who saw two women fighting, suggesting that you have to explain that theory to the jury, and you didn't. So I don't love the prosecution's opening in that regard. Stay tuned. We'll have the full coverage here. It's up and it's stuck in the Tory Lanez trial.
All right, guys, there you go. You heard it for yourself. Keep in mind, we've got a few more videos coming after this and a few more posts, so stay tuned. We're going to check out some of these comments. Let's see what the people had to say about this. First comment here comes from a woman, and it reads, okay, so his lawyers are deflecting and attempting to make Meg look like she's loose or jealous. No, she's loose. Too many rappers have come out saying that they've smashed Megan Thee Stallion. Too many. I mean, let's just be honest here. If you were to place her on the spectrum of like really careful with who she sleeps with versus loose, it would be more on the other side. Right. But hey, the other part of this is Are we just finding this out now because of the trial? And there are other women who are just able to hide their dirt a little bit more. I think that's also true. This commenter goes on to say, so she shouldn't be trusted. The trial is about him shooting her. All other information is completely irrelevant. 1,158 likes. No, it's not completely irrelevant. Another gentleman responded back to her and said, you're wrong. Someone else added to the thread and said, this is completely relevant as it's a build-up to how and why she got shot. Next comment from another guy says, Netflix need to take this story and give us about 10 episodes with a shoulder shrug, maybe even 12. This is true. Next, another woman here says, for those who've never seen a real trial or been to one, all these details matter. They dig up any and everything to prove the who, what, when, and why. So warning for all you women out here who think, you're going to be out here doing whatever you want, and men too. But I think men know that, right? Men know that if they're in a courtroom, they're going to do anything to make sure that that man gets what he deserves. But women, they enter a courtroom, they're surprised. They're like, what? Coffee?
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel
I didn't know we were
better.
drinking coffee in here. I don't even drink coffee.
No, I'll have a tea actually.
Another person responded back to that woman and says, for real, with the exclamation mark, talking about they don't care about all this. 28 likes. Another person responded and said, facts. This information is just as important as the gun residue. Somebody else added to this thread and said, and the defense creates reasonable doubt. Next, another person commented and said, I understand that logic escapes many people today. The defense is given an alternative narrative to the one the prosecution / Meg gave, saying that Meg and the company lying about the event. They're saying that the event that led up to the reason they're in court need to be known to understand what happened and why Meg could have been shot by someone else other than Tory. Many of you want the verdict before the facts are laid out. Reality TV mentality, as if drama dictates guilt and not fact. Yeah, makes sense. They have to hear all sides of the story. They have to hear what led up to that situation. And that's probably difficult for Megan Thee Stallion because, her dirt's kind of getting revealed right now. And so guys, due to the alternative narrative that was presented by Tory Lanez defense, Megan Thee Stallion had to take a stand. A post soon followed that read, Megan Thee Stallion confirms argument with Tory Lanez did start about romantic situation, but escalated to an argument about their careers. That's when the egos start to get involved. They're probably drunk. They were probably high. The post headline goes on to read, also spoke about rappers using lyrics implying she lied about being shot. So I'm going to read a kind of detailed quick thread here. It starts out saying Megan Thee Stallion was only on the stand for about 45 minutes this morning, but she walked through the entire shooting in that time. She entered court around 11:15 a.m. to shouts of support in the hallway. Tory Lanez did not look at her when she entered. Next thread, Megan Thee Stallion emotional as soon as she took the stand, describing Tory Lanez as someone she used to be friends with before telling a prosecutor she didn't feel good. I can't believe I have to come up here and do this. Well, that is part of the trial, right? That is part of the trial. You have to come up, tell your side of the story. Did you expect for people to just believe you? I mean, that's just not the way it works. Even if it's proven that Tory Lanez is wrong or whatever, you still have to come up and take the stand when called. MTS says the argument in the SUV started because she wanted to leave the party at Kylie Jenner's house and Lanez didn't. He had an attitude, and when they got in the car, he told MTS, you need to stop lying to your friend, referring to Kelsey Harris. MTS says she wanted to get out of the car right then and there, but I'm in the peak of being famous and I'm in a thong. And I look all crazy. I'm assuming that's Megan Thee Stallion explaining, was obviously worried about being photographed. Eventually, he lets her get out of the car and MTS describes the shooting as it had been in the court and interview before. Lanez yells, dance, B, and fires 5 times. She says, I'm in shock. I'm scared. I hear the gun going off. I can't believe he's shooting at me. Defense attorney has reportedly argued no one else would testify Lanez or anyone else yelled the phrase dance B, phrasing the prosecutor has used repeatedly, and DDA Alexander Bott began his opening argument with MTS says the gunfire floored everyone. Lanez looked shocked. Kelsey looked shocked. The driver, Tory Lanez security, looked shocked. MTS confirms that while the argument started out their romantic situation, it quickly escalated to a fight about their careers. So it started out with the argument about their romantic situation and went into their careers. Lanez apparently told MTS she ain't shit. And MTS, by the way, MTS is Megan Thee Stallion. I probably should have said that earlier. I'm sure you guys wonder, what? It's MTS. And Megan Thee Stallion responded by insulting his stature in industry. She said that really set him off. She called him short, of course. Megan Thee Stallion also hits on a topic that's been central to the case between Daystar Record and Drake's recent lyric that implies she lied about the shooting, that she feared reporting Lanez could hurt her career. This whole situation in the industry is like a big boys club. This is Megan Thee Stallion speaking like I'm telling on one of y'all friends. Now you're all about to hate me. So she was asked why she didn't report shooting to the LAPD during the vehicle stop. At this time, we were at the height of police brutality, she says. I felt if I said this man had shot me, they might shoot first and ask questions later. Come on. What? It's not that bad. When the police showed up, you were afraid to tell the cops that he was shooting at you because you thought they would just be like, bang, bang, you know, and shoot Tory Lanez. Come on, man. I don't know, though. One thing I have to remember about Megan Thee Stallion is that she's really young, right? She's young. Enough for me to take it in consideration. How old is she? Oh, she's 27. She's not that young. I don't know why I thought she was a lot. Yeah, this is a grown woman. Supposed to be married, approaching marriage with kids right now, right? No, I take it back. Give her coffee.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
She goes on to say, I don't feel safe in the car. I don't feel safe with the police. So she didn't feel safe in the car with Tory Lanez and her friend. And she didn't feel safe with the police because this was 2 years ago, of course, the height of pandemic, BLM, and everything. She adds, first of all, in the black community, in my community, it's not really acceptable to be cooperating with the police officers. Yeah, and that's a problem, right? Black people need to learn how to call the cops. Black people need to learn how to snitch. I'm sorry. Because in court, you're the one that ends up looking stupid because you're trying to live by the shit that you're rapping about in your songs. Everybody else can snitch on you, right? Every other race and culture can snitch on you, but you can't snitch on anybody else. Sounds crazy to me if you ask me. And I think this is the last paragraph in this thread. It reads, Megan Thee Stallion repeated the allegation that Tory Lanez offered both her and Kelsey Harris $1 million not to talk to the police, saying he couldn't get arrested again as he was on probation. There we go. So like I said earlier, guys, Megan really didn't like the fact that she had to get on stand and defend herself in this whole situation, kind of explain her side of the story. Next post here, I believe this was shared by her attorney, Nancy Dillon, if I'm not mistaken. And guys, I must say this, I'm not like an expert in any shape or form. Maybe this is like a public relation person or, I see her tweeting about the situation all the time, usually defending Megan Thee Stallion. So I know she's from her camp, right? For lack of better words. She posted Megan's testimony after lunch break was significantly more emotional. She got very animated and broke down several times talking about the toll of the shooting. She quoted Megan here by saying, because I was shot, I've been turned into some kind of villain. And he's the victim. This has messed up my whole life. I'm curious, what do you guys think of the whole thread I just read and everything that followed? Now, the next big thing that was trending was this. Megan Thee Stallion's surgeon is expected to testify that she required immediate surgery to remove bullet fragments after being shot in the foot. So the surgeon was going to testify that they were bullet fragments because that was the whole thing. They were like, were they bullet fragments? Were they not? We don't know. Right. But with this newfound knowledge, one of her friends could have shot her. As always, the internet did respond. This is what they had to say. First comment came from a woman and it says, but I thought Megan wasn't shot, with a question mark. I thought it was glass, with a question mark. I thought she didn't need surgery and was dancing 1 week later. Lawyers are smart with what info that they let out. Another woman responded back to her and said, exactly. Another chick responded back to that woman and said she was dancing within the week. That was all on social media. Now for everyone else. A lot of inconsistencies here. Do you get shot in the foot after a week and start dancing around on camera, on TikTok, right? I'm sure there have to be some medical professionals who are subscribed to this channel. I don't think anybody really has to be a medical professional to know that that really doesn't make sense. But anyways, comment down below, let me know. Someone else added to the thread and said, she was on the gram twerking. I swear, we believe you, bro. Don't gotta swear. We know, we drink coffee over here.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
With the laughing emojis, next comment here says, so what about the doctor who said it was glass in his report? Someone else responded back to that chick and says, that was a lie Blogs was telling. Same chick responded and said, no, it was paperwork with his official assessment. Another person added to the conversation says, no, because someone said at this point, put the foot on the stand. Hilarious. Another person here added and said, but why can't he find the fragments he removed from her foot? Laugh out loud. Like, this is the weirdest case in history. Another person here says, low-key, I'm starting to think it was an accidental shooting, but they making it seem like she was shot on purpose, to be honest. Another woman responded back to that person and says, low-key, I'm not even understanding why nobody came to sense with this. Like 9 times out of 10, it was accidental. I just cannot see Ninja just shooting a bee in her foot. This is the stupidest mess ever. The gun probably went off somehow. All this, he should have just intentionally, never mind, with the exclamation mark. And so guys, as this case has grown and more people are kind of spilling the beans on different details about the situation, of course, the person who's been exposed the most, and I mean, everybody's getting exposed, but probably the person most embarrassed here is Megan Thee Stallion, right? She's embarrassed because she might have lied, but more than that, the biggest embarrassment for her is the fact that a bunch of people are talking about her sex life. People are talking about the people who have smashed, and in great detail, right? Which is probably ruining her image and her brand. And people are looking at her like she belongs to the streets. But it's like, how can you feel bad for these female musicians today who push this narrative that women should go out here and, you know, she's the hot girl summer queen, right? This doesn't seem like something that she should be embarrassed about. Does it matter or does it not matter? Because it sounds like she does care, right, about everything that's going on. If you look at how female rappers like Megan Thee Stallion have kind of reacted to like getting exposed for being 304s, and listen, do whatever you want, but like stand on it. You get what I mean? It's the same thing with like the Young Miami and Diddy situation. Her going around saying, I am not a side chick. Yes, you are. You are a member of the City Girl duo and you're in rotation. We're going to talk about that too. So look forward to that. You're in rotation of a man's roster, Diddy, right? But I'm not a side chick. You are a side chick. The same thing here with Megan Thee Stallion. It's like, yo, stand on it. Don't be ashamed. No, don't run now. We want to see you drink that tea that you've been drinking all this time along.
Put that coffee down.
But anyways, she's devastated that people are kind of exposing her sexual history, which most people would be. Most people would be, right? But I don't think most people go around saying my past doesn't matter. No, it's like, I have a past. Listen, we all do. And there's some things we're proud about, some things we're not. But modern female empowerment says, do whatever you want. No consequences. Don't be ashamed unless it gets now plastered on tabloids and everybody knows about it. Now it's a problem. Anyways, so Megan Thee Stallion said this. She said, I'm having a really difficult time sitting up here comfortably telling my story. Megan testified, I've got to sit across Tori. I'm really trying to come off as a strong woman. Time to be strong and independent. Time to be a modern woman. It goes on to say, I don't want to give them the power they've been taking from me going on 3 years. Now, I do want to say this. I do know that Megan Thee Stallion has had a hard life, right? She lost her mom. She lost her grandmother. But in court, if this was a man, they don't care. They don't care. They don't care if you're embarrassed of, you know, the people who you slept with and now it's affecting your marriage. They don't care. In fact, they're probably happy about it. It's in this gynocentric society that when it's time for women to take accountability, now we're taught to give into what she's doing right now is, oh, poor me, feel bad for me. It's like, okay, we get it, but you did make a decision to be with all those men. She goes on to say, this whole story was about who I'm having sex with, and I don't understand why that matters. She told jurors after lunch. It goes on to say she was embarrassed and thought it was besides the point, she said. It's disgusting at this point. How can I share my body with somebody who could shoot me? That's the big question right there. It's like, if this woman, this young lady, had a father in her life, then she wouldn't have such a low standard of who she gives her body to. This is why fathers are important, right? And that's the unfortunate thing. She's asking herself a very important question there. Yes, how can you share your body with somebody who would do that to you? And the question here to be had is like, does it matter? Does it matter who you sleep with, or is it just whatever? Should women have more discretion, or should they let anybody bust those cheeks, right? Because they love rappers, they love Tory Lanez apparently, and of course we already figured out that's because he takes care of his skin. Click that Tej Henley link at the top of the comment section. But listen, guys, there was more. This post read, Megan said at Tory Lanez profile seems to be benefited from the shooting. It's like he's doing better while she is constantly criticized. She goes on to say, there's not a day that goes by that people don't call me a liar. She said men in powerful positions in hip hop industry are acting like Lanez is a victim. Comment down below, guys. Curious to know your thoughts. Next, Megan lamented how so much coverage focuses on her sex life, shaming me for being a grown woman and having sex. Here's what's funny about this. It's like there are people today who live in the shoulds. This is how you want the world to be. You want to be a woman who's promiscuous, or be a man who has no discipline, right? And sleep around and have no consequences. You will get a woman pregnant eventually. Every man has the potential to fall in that trap if you're not very careful. Oh, I should be able to smash whoever I want. I'm a grown man. Okay. Do you? Just don't be ready for the consequence. Oh, I'm a grown woman. Okay, cool. Just be ready for the consequence. Wait, people will start talking. You got the baby basically revealed on his track, on a diss track, that he smashed Drake. He didn't say he smashed, but he basically just kind of, dissed her in a way, and plenty of other people. It's like, that's the reality. That's the reality of doing that. And you could sit there and say, well, these are celebrities and this isn't real life. Nah, these women follow. If you think these women aren't out here racking bodies like this and getting passed around by men who they perceive are high value in their eyes, you'd be sadly mistaken, my guy. It is happening. Goes on to say, and people speculate about who she'd had sex with. I don't understand why that matters, at Megan Thee Stallion testified. Before we close out here, we are going to read a few more comments here from other people in response to her basically saying, stop talking about my sex life. First comment here comes from a woman, and it says, how she don't get the consequences of lying is beyond me. You did lie, Megan. You lied and said, you lie once, it makes it harder for everybody else to believe you. Someone else responded back to her and says, because why does she need to disclose her sexual partners? It's just like, women hate that. They're defending her because they're thinking of themselves. They said, shit, I would hate to be on a stand and have all my sexual partners come up and have everybody realize that I love Pookie. This commenter goes on to say, why is that the focus and not who? Why she was shot? Another person responding back to that chick and says, because who she slept with is an obvious reason as to why she may have been shot. Why you women acting stupid? Women cannot see past unflattering truth. about either their own personal lives or just female nature in general. They have to get over that. They have to put their emotions away. They have to sit down and think about it. If they believe that number's a secret and nobody will ever find out, and they get put in the situation where they have to now be held accountable and have to account for those decisions, they can't imagine that type of a situation, but this is that type of situation, right? Another person added to the conversation and says, huh? She obviously doesn't get it. And somebody else here says, Gail asked her and she lied. That's what I'm trying to understand. Another woman here says, I'd lie about it too. So this chick's like, hey, I lie about my body count too. This isn't enough proof for you guys, and I don't know what is. She goes on to say her sex life has only been used to blame her when she's supposed to be the victim. How is she supposed to be the victim? You don't go to trial and say she's supposed to be the victim. Nah. If she did in fact lie about this whole situation, Tory Lanez becomes the victim. That's who becomes the victim. She goes on to say she isn't the person on trial, and the victim blaming that has occurred is sickening. How dare you? Right? Next comment here says she handled the defense team reasonable doubt when she lied and trying to figure out if it was on purpose or if she really just wasn't thinking or got bad per advice. Next comment says this is sad for her dealing with this publicly. Yep. Someone else responded back to that chick and says she's a liar. She deserves everything that's been coming for her. You women constantly defending her because you would lie just to protect your image from being a liar. Hell yeah. If women are capable of lying on a stand, bro, what makes you think you texting her, what's your body count? You get what I mean? Or you asking your girl, just accept that you never know. Or that don't even ask. Don't even ask. Yeah, I don't encourage men to ask at all. But whatever she tells you is not true. Another comment here says Tory was literally blackballed. The only reason he's still going is because he makes good music and is independent. This is definitely cap. Saying she has not benefited from this situation is wild with the laughing emoji. That's true. By the way, man, this might shock you, but I'm not like Tory. I don't listen to Tory Lanez music like that. In fact, I would go as far to say I've probably heard more songs, not like actively gone to look for more songs by Megan Thee Stallion, but I've probably heard more of Megan's music than Tory Lanez. But he has a couple. He has a couple bangers that, when someone's that good, you can't deny but hear either one of these artists' music. Next comment here comes from a gentleman and it says, but she constantly talks about sex in her music. There we go. Laughing emoji like, what? We don't look at gangster drill rappers and be like, don't focus on the murders and violence. That's a good point. That's a good point, my man. That's true. That's true. That's true. If you're dealing with violence and you're rapping about violence, they're going to bring all that shit up, especially to all these gangster rappers, right? And so if you're dealing with like relationships and whatever, they're going to bring all the past history stuff up too. Makes sense. It'd be crazy for a guy to say, well, I don't get why you're bringing up that shooting. That has nothing to do with this. You know what I mean? That's crazy. I'd be crazy for a rapper to get on stand and start talking about like, what does that have to do with anything? Next comment from another woman says, Tory benefited from it, yet the sympathy she mustered up from people from all this got her Grammys and awards and turned into a whole movement supporting her. Yeah, okay. I just think people are confused on how within a week of being shot, she was performing in heels with Cardi. And finally, our last comment here says, how do you make 304 music, but be scared to admit that you had sex with somebody? That math ain't mathing. Are you sexually liberated or are you not? I don't know who this woman is, but someone give this woman a cup of coffee.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Listen, I could not have ended it better myself. As always, curious to know what you think, man. Leave your comments down below. I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of The Coffee Pod. Till next time, man. I'm out. Peace.